human design is your energetic blueprint based on your birth date. It's how you were brought into this world, your energy imprint, or I would call it your operating system. Like if you think of a computer, like how you're running behind the scenes, and then the personality and the experiences are on top of that.
Just a little taster of what is coming up on the show. But first, please do like this video and subscribe to the channel. And also tell your friends and family about this podcast. Please let us know in the comments if you would like to hear any particular topic in relation to sleep or health on the upcoming podcast. And I will create a show especially for you, just for asking the question. So let's get on with the show. Okay, hello everybody and welcome back to the Empowering Family Health Podcast. Guys, listen, I am really excited about this episode because I have Kristi Sullivan here with me, and Kristi is a human design and self-care expert. Now that is really relevant right now, the times that we're living in. She's on a mission to help women stop overworking. Does that sound familiar? And to start overflow. And she's written a new book, which only came out a few months ago, called Stop Overworking and Brilliant and Start Overflowing, 25 ways to transform your life using human design. We're going to be talking all about human design and using this as a tool. Kristi's also a yoga teacher, and she has a virtual community as well for personal development. Do look her up. And she's also a co-author of 3 best-selling books there on Amazon at the moment. And you've got an online course as well to support all of this. So Kristi, you're very welcome. I'm really excited to have you here.
Thank you so much, Joanne. It's so nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Great. Well, let's kick off and just dive in. I'm really excited about it because we've spoken many times before, and what you have to offer the world and what you're passionate about. You're passionate about health and wellness and helping people discover who they really are. And you use this tool, human design. So before we dive in, tell us, Kristi, because I think it's really relevant, a little bit about your background and why you are passionate about helping other people, health and wellness, and why you've chosen or came across this human design tool.
Yes, I discovered yoga about 20 years ago, in the year 2000, actually, and thought it was just so amazing. It just resonated for me, and that started my health and wellness journey because I started to look at things like healing and holistic modalities and alternative treatments, and yoga being, one of those type of things to really help improve our well-being. And I just over the years have explored things like Reiki and essential oils and just ways to help us deal with stress in life and with ups and downs and how to stay healthy, as you know. And then about 5 years ago, I discovered human design. And I've always been interested in learning more about myself. So in addition to yoga, I had my own personal growth journey and love retreats and learning. And so human design is a tool that really resonated again for me. It was a way to know ourselves in a deeper level from an energetic perspective. Human design is your energy blueprint based on your birth date. And so things like that, I just love learning about. And so now I'm here to help share it and teach it out to the world. I had this book come out just a few months ago, so others can learn about human design. I talk about self-care because I think it's so important. And I just love meeting people like you who are also on this same journey with a similar mission.
Brilliant. There's a lot of similarities there straight away. I'm a professional aromatherapist myself, and I'm actually wearing geranium rose geranium at the moment. I chose to wear that for this interview. And lots. I've done the Reiki as well. So, and the yoga. Yeah. And look, they're all really important, and just hundreds and hundreds of modalities out there. And look, yoga might not be for everybody, but there's definitely something there in a healing modality or a self-care modality, whatever word you want to put on it. But it's really important. And I really want to zone in on the self-care because we were talking earlier and we were saying that, for many people, we have this inner critic or the imposter syndrome. And me included, I've experienced it, and it comes up every now and again as well. And we're living in a very challenging time at the moment. And when you talk about self-care, Kristi, I know there's many different forms of it, but what is self-care really when we really look at it, and why is it so important right now more than ever to look at self-care?
Well, I know we are going through difficult times, and many people in many different ways. For me, I actually want to just mention a few years before the pandemic, I was experiencing a lot of ups and downs, things going on in my family. My father had Alzheimer's, in my home life, in my job and career. And I had luckily some support, coaches and people that I knew who could provide me with some guidance. I started to do things like tapping, and I said self growth and development was important to me. I knew that when some things came up that were difficult and challenging, that rather than try to shove it under the carpet, or distract myself, I knew that there was a lot of great lesson, wisdom, and insights that I could receive if I really stayed with what was happening for me, not just to me.
Yes.
And I see self-care as the ability to do that, to do some inner work, to not get distracted, but rather to focus on your health, your well-being, not just in body, but also in mind and spirit, even emotions. And to do self-care in that deeper sense so that you can move through things that are difficult. We know that that's what life is. It gives us challenges and experiences so that we can learn from them. So to me, self-care is so important for moving through challenging times. And to do self-care when we're feeling good is great, but to do it also when we're not feeling so good can help us in so many ways. So it's really important to establish what is self-care for you. I think it comes in many different forms, but it's again a way to help heal or move through things that are challenging in a way that's nurturing and good for your well-being.
Yeah, and what I could hear there as well, self-care has many different levels as well. So it's not just about eating healthy foods, exercise and movement. It's about having good sleep, but also what's your purpose in life and your emotional health. And then, what you said as well about understanding ourselves, why we get triggered in a certain way, because something could happen and two people could react in two totally different ways. So when we understand who we are, why we react that way, and sometimes there's a bit of conditioning there as well, from what happened in the past, and society, and that's very influential as well, our parents or teachers. So and even exploring the spirituality kind of side of it as well, because that's something that a lot of people are starting to really look into. What's my purpose? What am I doing here anyway? And as you say, using the experiences to learn from that as well.
Yeah. And you had mentioned, right now in this time, what's happening. And I think there are more people who want to grow their spirituality, grow the foundation of who they are and why are we here. And I think more people are looking at that sort of reflection on their lives. Why are we here? How can we help the greater good? How can we create support and be of service too during this time that can be difficult for others, that might have been difficult for us. We're all connected, so we can share similar stories or at least help others receive guidance. And I think that's why right now self-care is so important, because how we show up to not only ourselves, but to others is so important right now. And we're really in a shift that's happening all across the globe. I mean, we've seen things happen very locally, maybe in our neighborhood, maybe in our country, but this time is really affecting the entire world. And so we're really, more important than ever, needing to be mindful of what is our energy like? How are we showing up? How are we staying healthy? How are we doing our self-care?
Yeah. And you mentioned, about the energy as well. And, I always talk about health and well-being starting in the family home. And as parents, we're very responsible for our children, and we have to walk the talk. And it's all about in the being. So being is our energy. How are we showing up, as you say? And I love this conversation, Kristi, because it's so powerful. Like, it really is so relevant. Like it always was, but even more so right now, because as you say, there's a lot of people that are starting to question, what is going on? Like, why am I here? What's this all about? People are really starting to question that now, and it's really important. I just want to ask you, what's the difference? There's a lot of, different personality tests like the Enneagram and Myers-Briggs. What's the difference, just briefly, what's the difference between those personality tests and the human design, just so as to differentiate that?
Yeah, good question. So the other tests are personality tests, and they take into account how your upbringing was, your environment, things you experienced, life traumas, perhaps, even if you recognize like ancestral beliefs, and you mentioned conditioning, things that were either put on us or that we received that affect our thoughts, our behaviors, and even, again, experiences and traumas that really impacted how we choose to do things and how we show up. Human design is your energetic blueprint based on your birth date. It's how you were brought into this world, your energy imprint, or I would call it your operating system. Like if you think of a computer, like how you're running behind the scenes, and then the personality and the experiences are on top of that. So when you do those other tests, it takes into account everything, and it can change. So you might do a test, 10 years ago versus today, and there might be some slight differences, but human design doesn't change. It's literally based on the day that you were born, the alignment of the planets, the cosmic energy, and the impact, and how you were, I call it imprinted. And that doesn't change. So when you start to understand that what's underneath that deeper sense of yourself and how you maybe do things naturally, then you begin to realize what's conditioned and what's more in your natural state, which is how we want to be. We want to show up. If we don't want to feel like that square peg in a round hole, we want to feel like ourselves.
Yeah. So it really distinguishes between the conditioning and the blueprint, as you say. And what I love about the human design is it's literally on your birth date. So you literally get, what you are straight away. Whereas with the personality, you have to answer a load of questions, and sometimes they can be slightly different. And not everybody wants to give the time to answer. I think there's like 40 or sometimes 100 questions actually even. So it's quite time consuming doing the personality. But I think it's really important that, the blueprint that you're talking about. So Kristi, you're going to have a look at my chart just to give people an idea. I'm really excited about this part. So just to give people an idea of really what to expect in a reading, or what will show up on a chart. So can you tell us how many different, well, actually, you know what, I'll just get you to have a look at the chart, and you can explain it from there, I suppose, and people, just give people an idea of what to expect.
Yeah, and we're just using a little sample here to help explain what the blueprint is. And it literally is a chart, and you can go on the internet and find some free sites and discover your chart, but it can look complicated and complex. So what I like to do is help guide people into understanding what does this mean? Okay. And for you, Joanne, for example, and where we usually start is, what is your energy type? The very top kind of layer. And for you, it's the manifesting generator type. There are actually 5 different types, and manifesting generator is a subset of the generator, very similar, but in manifesting generator is here to do work. We're built to do work. And you actually do it probably in a quick way. You like to find shortcuts. You may juggle a lot of projects, and your energy is pretty quick, and that's okay. That's how you operate. But doing the right kind of work is still really important. So this is speaks to a little bit of the self-care, because when you are doing the right kind of work, it doesn't even feel like work. And when you're doing the right kind of self-care, it feels really good to you, and it just helps you get the energy to do other things and to feel really plugged in and just alive. And I think that's really important for every type to figure out the energy that really is behind what you're doing. And again, for a manifesting generator like you like to juggle different things and have different projects going on and find shortcuts to do things sometimes. And one of the aspects too of a manifesting generator is your defined throat. So you like to, say things and speak things out loud that are very clear and guide people. Maybe that's why you're a coach and why you have this podcast. So that's also an aspect to a manifesting generator. So we look at the different energy centers and help you understand kind of the characteristic behind it. And there's 2 billion combinations. So even though you're a manifesting generator, you still have other aspects to you that make you unique.
Yeah, I can see how this can unfold into an hour-long session, even longer than that. I'd say it would actually take a long time, a whole series to actually really get down to the nuts and bolts, and taking in. And this is a combination of the chakras, of astrology, the I Ching, the Kabbalah, lots of different things. And I know I was doing some stuff on the Tree of Life with a lady called Heidi Sawyer. I don't know if you know Heidi Sawyer. Do you know Heidi? She endorsed my book actually. But I'm a number 6 life coach, and that's real from the solar plexus, the gut kind of stuff. And I know in my manifesting generation, my energy, what is it? My energy is the emotion, the solar plexus, is it? My emotional authority is the solar plexus. So the 6 in the life code on the Kabbalah tree. Yeah, so that really resonates with me. But I just, and what you said about the exercising as well, for me, or self-care, the types, there's different self-care that would suit different people. And for me, I love walking. I would walk for miles. I love walking, and I love figuring things out. This is when I move, and this is when I figure things out. And I have to move. Yeah. Just a short walk, doesn't have to be a sprint, or, I just like really walking at a nice pace, not a sprint, and that's what I like to do. And that's part of my self-care.
Yeah. The general guidance is, if you're a generator or manifesting generator, that getting at least 30 minutes of movement a day is really helpful. For a manifesting generator, I can see why walking is good, because it helps burn some of that energy that you have throughout the day. And what I also say to manifesting generators is that you want to be really mindful of making sure you do that movement and you feel aligned, because if otherwise your energy is out of alignment or not moving in the right way for you, it can get lodged into the thyroid for manifesting generators. So that's something to make of note, in particular for their health.
Wow, that's see, folks, how you can really read into this and really get to understand why, if you're not aligned, and and as you say, when I'm working and I'm really enjoying it, doesn't even feel like work. I'm just excited, and I love playing with this, and it's great fun. And I'm a mother as well, so I would have the mommy hat on at certain times of the day, and I hate planning and structure. I'm a bit of a free bird. And I know there's a lot of people out there like that as well. Like my mentor, God, I used to drive him mad because I couldn't keep a diary. I couldn't stick to the diary and write in it every day and be strategic. And I used to drive him mad. And I was like, oh, there's something wrong with me. I can't do it. But now I understand. I'm a bit of a free bird, and I multitask, and there's nothing wrong.
Yeah. And one other piece of advice, because I want to tie it to your book actually, and what I'm seeing, in your background, is that generator types also need that exercise and the energy to burn off, so that you get a good night's sleep, by the way. And when you feel tired at the end of the day, when you hit that first sign of being tired, that's when you should go to bed. Don't get a second wind. I mean, especially a manifesting generator, when you like to do a lot of different things, you're thinking let me just push a little harder and keep going. And that can really affect your sleep at night. And we really need our sleep, as you know, because that's the time to restore and recharge our batteries, our inner batteries, and that energy.
I love that you said that, and you brought sleep into it. And something, you hit the nail on the head, because I find I sleep so much better when I go for like an hour, 2 hour walk, you know, and where I live in the countryside, and there's lots of trees, and I love forests and the seaside. When I go down to my mum, she lives in Wexford, and we do the sea and we do the forest. And I just love being outside and being in nature, and just feeling like I dissolve into nature or something. There's something so beautiful about that. And all my troubles are kind of gone then, you know, when I'm just dissolving into nature. I think that's really important for people as well, and to find whatever that self-care is for you. For me, it's the walk and being out in nature. I think being out in nature for everyone to some degree is good anyway, whether you're walking or running. I hate sprinting, I hate jogging. But some people love that, you know, or maybe going down to the gym or whatever. But I think, you know, because thousands of years ago we came from nature, you know, we lived out in nature in caves and what have you, so we're hardwired to live in sync with nature. And I get that when there has been times when, if I haven't used up my energy, and I did read that somewhere before I came onto this call, that for the manifesting generators, they've got to use up all their energy and not be exhausted. There's a difference, isn't there, between being exhausted? Because
Yes.
I've often, I had one client, and they used to do a 5K run close to bedtime to make themselves tired on purpose. So there was two things wrong there. First of all, their core body temperature, they were increasing the core body temperature, which is not the desired for sleep. We need a core body temperature to cool down. And also they have a lot of adrenaline and cortisol, and their wake up hormones, their energetic, their stimulants. And they were literally wired and tired, so they couldn't actually sleep properly. So like I always tell that story. So make sure, for anybody, whatever, not to make yourself exhausted going to bed, because we do actually need a little bit of energy too, because there's a lot going on, heal and repair and recovery, as you say, at nighttime when we're sleeping. So is there any other insights or anything you want to share with us about the human design, why it's such a good tool that people can use now? Like, even though there's a lot in it, Kristi, you know, there's a lot of books, there's a lot of YouTube videos. People can buy your book, or they can do your course. You have a course. Yes. Tell us a little bit about your course that people can do.
So I have a digital course online, and it's a great kind of intro to human design. It goes over the types. It also ties it to self-care. And when you're done with the course, which is only about an hour long, but you even get a chance to develop a customized self-care plan for yourself, and to really tune in and figure out what is here right now in front of you to help you with nurturing your mind, body, and spirit. And I want to say, tie it back to, the idea that right now it's more than important than ever, not just that we're doing self-care and, self-growth, but to really understand ourselves at a deeper level. It helps us accept ourselves for who we are, to honor others, that their energy blueprint is unique and different. And it's just a way for us to, again, understand who we are at a deeper level, so that we start to make choices. One thing I wanted to say is, in the human design system and tool, we do have something called our inner authority. And you said yours was the emotional. This is really important, that we tune into where inside of us, or how does our inner wisdom show up. It's not the head. The head is really just meant to hold information. So for you and about 50% of the population, it's the emotional authority. It's noticing how you feel, and you actually want to not be spontaneous with decisions. If you have a big decision, to wait about 24 hours. It's called riding an emotional wave and come to some clarity. And something like that is so important right now, because we have so much information around us and so much pressure to not only work, but to do things like move forward, make decisions. And some people really need to take a little bit of time to pause. And so that's would be really good advice for you as well. And for about, I said, 50% of the population.
That's so true, because I like to sleep, and I always say, oh, I'll sleep on that one.
Yeah.
Before I make a decision. I love what you said about the overwhelm, the too much information, all that kind of thing. And that's very, very distracting. And our brains are not able for that quite a lot of the time. There's a lot of addiction going on, and addiction can be, yes, we know addiction is drugs and alcohol. A lot of people have been drinking a lot more actually during the pandemic, but addiction can be our mobile devices and what have you. And basically the point is that these are all very, very distracting, and it's taken us away from focus. And if we can't focus on what's important to us, what matters to us, what we need, what each of us uniquely needs, because we're all different, as you say. So that's really important, is the focus. And human design can help us get there faster, because we can understand ourselves so much more. And I just love this whole conversation, Kristi. There was something else that I was going to say.
And I wanted to say, it's interesting. You just said what you said. Just this morning, I was talking with a group about this idea of being addicted to distraction.
Yes.
So that is, it could be the mobile device. It could be, family drama or things happening in the world, in the media, but just to really be mindful. What are you putting into your head? What are you allowing for that information? And that going inward, this human design tool is a way to go inward so that we let go of some of that distraction. And come more back to ourselves.
Yeah. And who are we hanging around with? What kind of company are we keeping as well? Because that can really influence us.
Yeah.
And the opposite is true as well. So how we are being, how we are showing up can be infectious to other people. So whether we're showing up amazing or depressed or whatever, both can be infectious. And this is how we're influencing people. So that's why it's so important to do the self-care, really grow and show up as our best version of ourselves, because that can influence the people in our homes and, in the greater community. And there was something else you mentioned about each of us being unique and individual, and we need to accept who we are, and honor it. And everybody is different, and to accept that. And what's beautiful about that is, collaboration seems to be a big thing, especially in the last couple of years. Collaboration, no competition.
Yes.
And when we can see the different skills that different people have, and I think collaboration, working in teams, and teams is about people having different skills and utilizing on that. And I think you can't do it on your own. You can't save the world on your own. And we all want to make a difference in the world. And it's in each and every one of our own interest to give our input and show up at our best, whatever skill that is. There's no right or wrong about it, and everyone's different, but we need to come together. It's not just
yes. Yeah, we're moving into this time of, instead of the importance of which tribe do you belong to or what group do you resonate with, to really understand your unique individuality and to let that show up. Because like you said, in a collaboration, it's important what each person is individually, to help balance and really create more synergy, I think, between whatever effort and impact you want to have in the world.
Yeah, beautiful. Kristi, we're coming near the very end. This is a very short interview. I could talk to you for ages. Maybe we'll get you back on again in a few months.
That'd be
great. Or whatever, because I think this work is vital. I think it's really, really vital that people get to know themselves, who they are, and using human design as a tool is a quick way to understand yourself. Can you tell people where they can find you?
Yes. My website is my name, Kristi H. Sullivan. And you could probably post that link, but I'm also on Facebook and on Instagram, the same handle, Kristi H. Sullivan. And I have a Facebook group called Kristi's Human Design and Self-Care Community. And then also you'll find on my website a link to my digital course, the book that we mentioned, which is also on Amazon, and access to a free PDF I have to help you create that self-care plan. So I hope you'll stop by and visit and reach out.
Absolutely brilliant. And I just joined your community actually earlier today, so you might see that there. So
thank you.
Brilliant. I'm really, you know what, Kristi, I just love talking to you. I love talking to people with the same mindset and the same passion and wanting to care for people. And I always say, you know what, be kind to yourself and care about others. That's my little motto. It came to me in a dream one night, actually, but it all starts with ourselves. But Kristi, if you were to leave us with one very empowering thought, I ask all my interviewees this question: what would your one piece of advice be, or empowering thought that you can leave our listeners with today?
Oh, this is a good one. Well, I'll keep it about self-care. What I say is self-care is essential, and make it a priority. It is not a reward or a luxury.
Oh, that is short and sweet and so powerful. Drop mic, or mic drop. Drop mic. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Very powerful, Kristi. Kristi, I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for who you are and really acknowledge it, because It's really important work, and it takes a lot of courage to be able to do the work that you're doing and on the different platforms as well that you're showing up on and sharing your information. So thank you, Kristi, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.